You give your element a z-index of 9,999, and it still sits behind. A sibling with a z-index of 1. You did nothing wrong. The browser is following a rule that nobody told you about. Today, we pull apart stacking contexts and prove why a giant z-index can quietly lose to a tiny one. Most developers picture z-index like a global elevator. Higher number, higher floor. But that mental model is a lie. The browser does not compare every z-index on the page against every other one. It compares them in groups, and those groups are called stacking contexts. Cross one boundary, and the numbers stop talking to each other. Here is the setup that breaks brains. We have two parents, the red card and the blue card. Inside the red card lives a tooltip with z-index 9,199. The blue card itself has z-index 1. You would expect the tooltip to win. It does not. The culprit is one short line on the red card. The isolation property, set to isolate, forces the red card to become its own stacking context. From that moment on, every descendant z-index is trapped inside the red card. 9,999 no longer competes with the blue card. It only competes with other children of red. And the red card itself, as a single unit, has no z-index, so it loses to the blue sibling. Isolation is honest about what it does. The painful part is everything else that creates a stacking context silently. A transform of any kind, an opacity below 1, a filter, a backdrop filter, a will change hint on certain properties, even position fixed or sticky. Any of these turn an innocent parent into a sealed box, and your nested z-index is suddenly powerless. Here is how the rendering engine actually paints the page. It walks the tree as a forest of stacking contexts. For each context, it paints the background, then negative z-index children, then inflow blocks, then floats, then inflow inlines, then positive z-index children, in order. Crucially, it finishes painting one entire context before moving to the next sibling context. So once the red card is sealed, the engine paints all of its insides, then closes the box, then paints the blue card on top. So how do you actually fix it? You have two real options. Move the floating element out of the trapped parent, often by portaling it to the body, or stop creating the stacking context on the parent in the first place. Delete the transform, drop the opacity hack, remove the isolate. If the parent is not a context, the child z-index competes globally again. Bigger numbers will never save you. Smaller trees will. Z-index is not a number. It is a position inside a tree of sealed boxes. The next time a layer refuses to come forward, do not reach for a bigger number. Walk up the DOM and find the parent that quietly became its own world. That is where your z-index is trapped, and that is the only place the fix can live.